Alright. I'm back with part 2 of this whole shenanigans thing. I apologize for whatever happened because your guess is as good as mine. Um, I have no idea what happened. For whatever reason, my Wi-Fi dropped out, and so yeah, that's what happened.
That sucks.
Oh yeah.
So we are not live right now, right?
Yes, we're back live.
Okay.
Um, if you go to the channel, um,
There we
it
go.
yeah,
Okay.
you'll see the new one.
Cool, cool.
Yep.
All right, I think we're good now. Where are we
Sweet.
doing this?
All right. Now we gotta pimp this one back out.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
Stuff resized here. Oh, I can't wait to get my monitors.
Oh yeah. That's what I've been telling myself I need to do.
Yep. Two's not enough for me. Like it's not
I
working.
would be happy if I had to.
Like four is what you want to shoot for. Like that's the goal.
Something like that, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm shooting for. Uh, let's see.
Oh man. So yeah, that's that. We're back
We are back.
again. Oh yeah, like do 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 do. Obviously, there's nothing in the description right now. I'm going to go back through and re-edit all of that back in. So no big worries there. So much stuff going on. It's kind
There
of
is a lot.
ridiculous.
We got
Yeah,
this.
yeah. It doesn't surprise me. And so I went out there to go try and find one of my extremely large Ethernet cables so I can run a direct line into my computer, and nothing. I couldn't find the damn thing. I
Uh,
was like, what the fuck? I've got miles and miles of Cat 5 cable, and I can't find any of it.
yeah,
Uh,
I had to order some because I had a similar problem. I couldn't find my strand, so I just went to Amazon and $15. That was it.
oh, yeah.
But I still had to wait for it though.
Yeah. I found most of mine, from other people and things like that.
hmm
For the second
This is weird. I can't
part
see the
of
chat.
the F show. I almost put shoe.
This is weird, dude. I can't see the chat on YouTube.
I can. Yep,
Hmm.
you're exactly right. Need a 50-foot one. Yeah, I could use a 50, 25. Actually, I have two 25-footers, and I don't know where the hell they are. That's the fucked up part. That is seriously the fucked up part. And I've got, I think I have a 51 lying around here somewhere. I just can't remember where I put the damn thing.
Check this out, Fox. This is your stream on YouTube. This is what I'm seeing. I see no chat.
Well, that sounds like a personal problem, but I see
Yeah,
chat.
that's messed up. My chat's gone.
Wah, 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 wah. So Osiris, now that you politely joined us again, what had happened is my Wi-Fi had dropped out and completely killed my connection, and I went to go and try and find one of the long Ethernet cables that I have strewn across this place. I couldn't find it, and so yeah, I was waiting for the Wi-Fi card to reboot.
First world problems.
Yeah, first world problems. First world problems. And Osiris says if you're not seeing chat, you might as well just hit the refresh button.
I've done it 3 times. Still not seeing it. I don't know what is up with it. I'm going to close my browser and open it back up, as much as I don't want to do that.
And just to
That's
make
what I'm
sure
gonna do.
that just make sure that the one that you've got in there is not the Hangout isn't in that one that you're closing.
Shouldn't be.
I hope not.
Hang on, I got it.
Good. Did you get chat back?
Nope, no chat.
I know. I'm using Wi-Fi. I'm
No
streaming
chat.
from my lap. Yeah, I'm streaming from my laptop, and I know I'm a bad I'm a bad tech guy. Bad llama.
That's not bad. That's just, you know,
It's an
working with it right
oversight.
now.
But that's the thing. I have
Dude,
everything to do it.
Zio
I
Fox
just
has got like the perfect setup for anybody that doesn't know. Oh, he's got it. Don't be fooled.
Oh, Mike, if you're still in, I hope you're still in here. Here is now I can show you what you're going to be getting. Here is your coffin. There's your 510 connection. I'm still waiting on the battery and the switch for your mod. There you go. This is what his e-cigarette is going to look like. Unregulated 18650
Very
box
nice.
mod. Yeah, I'm gonna start making those, and for anybody that wants them, just hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, email. My email's at the bottom of the description, and yeah, just send me an email and what you think you want, and I'll see if I can't make that happen.
I figured out my chat problem.
Let me guess, you clicked hide chat or
No,
hide comments.
I was on the first stream, not the second one.
Well, that's your first problem. Wow.
Everything else is fine. Alright, so The Witcher 3 is coming out soon. What are our thoughts on that?
Honestly, I haven't done too much research into it just because I'm, just now getting back into getting my schedule set so I can, continue to do the whole YouTube thing and blah blah blah, and making sure that it doesn't really conflict with work. And
Yeah.
speaking of
I
which,
hear you.
for those that follow Brayhawk Tech, I am going to be doing a guest spot on one of their shows. It's not going to be live. It's going to be pre-recorded, but it's about the FDM printers, or fused deposition modeling printers, which is the 3D printer that I have.
Very cool.
And so I'll be going not too in depth with it on theirs, but look for a video like that to pop up on my channel, because I'm going to go more in depth as far as what fused deposition modeling is, and what how people can relate to it. Because when I say, fused deposition model with filament printer, people are like, what the hell is that shit? It goes right over their head, so I'll be going into quite a bit of detail about it.
Very cool.
My wife told me that I look like a dragon when I do that.
Hashtag puff.
Yeah, right?
Out.
Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and wallows in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu.
So,
Little
dude,
Jackie Porter. What?
I've totally run out of topics. We're winging it now.
Well,
I'm totally out.
I even said that.
I know, yeah.
we have no topics. It's just, hey, let's hang out and have a good time type
Let's do
deal.
that. So check this out. There's like live bands playing right outside my door. Like when we get done with this, I'm probably gonna go walk down the street and go party, to be honest.
Well, there you go.
I'm thinking about that. Because it's like
I
right
would.
there. Yeah. Right
Shit.
there, no driving involved. It'd be awesome.
Ooh, yeah.
So when are we gonna play some games, man?
When are we gonna play some
Yeah,
games?
got any
As
time ever?
soon as yes, I'm gonna make time for it, but obviously I've got things I gotta take care of first, like either one, get new monitors and then uh, set it up that way, or I know you're not supposed to do this, and I know for a fact I'm gonna get flack for it if I broadcast to Twitch playing on my couch with a wireless keyboard and mouse.
Oh,
See,
that would be awesome, dude.
you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You gotta
Oh
have
my
the
God.
keyboard and mouse plugged in to reduce latency. Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Fuck you guys, man. I'm doing whatever
Yeah.
works for me.
That's right. Hashtag pixel prick.
Mm, hashtag pixel prick. Hashtag keyboard Nazi.
Do it now.
Do it. Do it now.
Right now.
Get to the chopper.
Get to the Twitter sphere. Do it.
I'm sorry, Jay. That was not my best impression of Arnold.
That probably was my best one. That's even sadder, right?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
But yeah, I've really been, like I was telling you before, I was talking to this guy, Tommy NC 2010, and he was telling me that I could
Right.
do I should do a radio show kind of thing, and that got me thinking, what if I set up a website and started doing podcasts and things like that? But then I thought about it, and I'm like, what am I doing here? Right here and now. I'm kind of doing essentially the same thing, except it's with video, but
Right.
obviously having it, readily available for people who care to download it and actually give a shit about what I say.
Well, the key is
That's
like you're doing it right already. The next step is to whore it out in audio format only. That's like step 2.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, which wouldn't necessarily be too hard. I mean, all I'd really have to
Right.
do is set up Windows to just record everything and then
Yep.
drop the files down and then upload them to the site. But
That's it.
mhm.
But man, doing the podcasting, it's hard. Unless you work by yourself, it's hard.
Oh,
It's,
I
it's
know.
hard to get guests. But
I mean, you could obviously do things that are, solo, like go off on rants, and you call it your rant, and just
I had
just do that whole thing, and then weekly you get your people together like you and I are doing now, and do our set scheduled shows. But things throughout the week, you put up an audio podcast, or go live and just rant about whatever it is, whatever topic you feel like doing for that day.
Yeah, I've got a few ideas. I even thought about doing like a daily news thing where I'll pick one piece of tech news and completely read it, understand it, and then either rip it apart or glorify it, whichever is deemed necessary there. And
Yeah,
talking about like a
and
three
that's not
minute
a bad idea.
video. Yeah,
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I mean, or you could do like, front page tech, do it,
I love front page.
certain intervals of the week.
Yep,
You pick one or two news stories and do, those two on
yep,
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then, you do your hangouts with uh, whoever on the weekend.
yep. It's a way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Pro tips right here.
Pro tips? I don't
Pro
know, man.
tips.
I mean, these are all just, suggestions and things that I'm thinking up of off the fly, but
We know what we're doing. We just don't have the time. See, that's the difference. We know what we're doing.
yeah.
We just don't have the time to actually do it.
I don't know if we would actually give ourselves that much credit and say that we know what we're doing.
I would say that we
We know
could.
how, I would
I
say
would
we
say
know
that we
how to
know
do it.
how to if we try.
Yes.
We try, we know
We,
how to.
we
Yeah.
the way Chris Perillo puts it, the ideas are good, but we've just got poor execution.
He's right. Yeah, he's actually right. But
Mm-hmm.
define poor execution. That would have to be a definition of your audience, right? And what kind of
But
audience are we trying to draw? That's you gotta look at that too. But
yeah, but that's the other thing too. If you're doing rant videos, you're kind of targeting everybody. Because it
yeah,
doesn't necessarily have to be tech related. It could be anything.
yeah,
Like like 3 or 4 people cut you off in one day, and you go on a rant about that for that day, and
right,
you know has nothing to do with tech. It's something everybody can relate to, so you're kind of targeting everybody with that one. But then when you go and do your shows on the weekends, it's
yeah,
like your focus is on a particular group.
right.
I mean, like with vaping and building your own mods and things like that, you're talking to a very very broad spectrum, because you're talking
It's
to
a niche group. Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's a niche group,
It's a
but you're
niche group.
also talking to people that are DIYers
Yep.
and looking to do
And
something that could make them money. You're
yeah,
looking at people that want to quit smoking. You're looking at the vapors that are already out there that want to expand their collection, and they're doing it as a hobby. They're trying to find the next latest and greatest thing. And then you've got your um, tech people that say put made it regulated, meaning that there's a microchip inside that you can fine tune to your different builds. You've got the programming side of it, getting that whole thing. So you're looking at
yeah,
4 very large groups of people, and shoving a lot of information down their throat.
right. Yep.
And then especially if you've got a 3D printer, you're building stuff like this. This
Yeah,
was built off of my printer. So
no
you're
doubt.
also talking to the
Well,
people
shit,
that
like
are 3D printer enthusiasts.
90%
They're like,
of the
oh, I can make money now.
90% of the people that I know, like in real life, have heard of a 3D printer, but they have no clue what it is or what it does. And like
Then,
90% people
I
that I
would.
just interact with on a day-to-day basis. And it's sad, really, because, man, 3D printers are awesome. It's the future. It's and eventually we'll
It
be hitting
is.
4D printing at some point. But so does
Well,
me.
they're
But they can already print anything,
technically
right?
they have. Technically they have. If you count the couple that I've seen on Kickstarter that will print in sugar on tops of cakes, and then
That's pretty awesome.
uh, I saw one yesterday that has a hot griddle built into it, and you can make custom pancakes with it.
I can like hit print pancake. That's like the
Yes,
best thing ever.
you could
I
print
can
out
print
a
pancakes.
personal pancake in whatever 2D design you wanted.
That is the coolest shit ever, dude. That is
I'm telling you.
amazing. It's I don't think I told you this, Zio. The buddy of mine that did the stupid AMD build that I will be doing an update on soon, by the way. Anyone that is watching, we have been playing with that system, trying to get RAID 0 to work, and we've gone through 3 different motherboards, and we can't get RAID 0 to work with Windows 8.1. We have not been able to successfully do it yet on an
Ah,
AMD-based platform.
what?
Yes, we have not been able to successfully do it. We've tried the ASRock Extreme 9, the Asus Crosshair 5 Formula Z, or Formula V, whatever it is, and we tried an MSI board. I don't even know which one it was. My friend was at the point where he's like, screw it, just buy it and let's try it. And we've not been able to successfully RAID 2 of his Samsung solid state drives. The,
That's
yep.
bizarre.
The option is there in the menu, and when you do it, it doesn't work. Like straight up.
Ah,
We have not been able to get it to work. And both of us working together, we've solved some things. But
I would, if I were you, I'd talk to Paul and see what his thoughts are on that, because
Paul's running a
as
single
far
drive as far as I know. As
then
far as
I'd
I know.
talk to
The only person I think is probably Keith and Sergeant Bilko. Those would be the two go-to guys for me.
yeah. I don't know what Sergeant Ballistic runs in his. I don't
I
know if
think
he's an
Sergeant Ballistics,
AMD
I think
or
he's i7, I'm
Intel.
pretty sure. Pretty sure. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I don't
It's
know.
been ridiculous, man. I'm glad it's not my money. That's what I'm saying. He
Yeah.
spent a lot of money on this project, and the only thing stopping us from completing this is the RAID 0. When we get that to work, it's done. Everything else is already set up.
Nice.
We've run it with one SSD and it's been fine, and we've gotten badass scores. We're not going to reveal any of that till we get everything working. But
Yeah, I wouldn't reveal that
yeah,
until you get RAID 0 actually functioning the way you want it to, because then you can obviously go in and compare numbers between the two.
I'll put it to you this way. I'll give a brief overview of what we've found out in playing around with this stuff. Is that the 9590 and the 295 X2s are not the bottleneck. It's the motherboard. It's the hardware not being able to spit that, not being able to
That
spit it out quick enough, and
honestly, that doesn't surprise me.
that's what it is.
That doesn't surprise me. Having that hardware bottleneck you doesn't surprise me, because you're going from something that's unregulated to something that is, and then it's like, holy shit.
Yeah. Like we've literally tried the most expensive motherboard and the cheapest, and one in between. And this is him like buying new stuff, and like he's not getting a return on this. Like we got to figure out how to sell these other boards, and
Hey,
and
I'm
that's
looking
that's
to
where it's at.
upgrade one of my AMD systems.
Yeah.
If you feel the need
Hey
to
man,
send
we'll
one
cut
my
you a
way,
deal. Sure.
I'm not gonna deny it.
Well, I'm sure we can work something out. That's not out of the ballpark. It's like we've
Yeah.
literally got 3 motherboards sitting around that it's like they all work. There's nothing wrong with them. They just can't do what we want them to do.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because I'd be turning that, if I was able to get my hold of something like that, I would be putting it in this machine. I'd have to get an AMD card, and I'd be turning it into a media
Right.
center PC.
Right. That's not a bad deal, and that's what I told him. I was like, man, all this stuff. Oh, we've already had to repurpose the parts talk already. Take that 9590 and make it a streaming rig or a home theater PC, like you said, and just buy the i7 and leave everything else in it. And I think
Hmm.
you'll be okay on that. Yes, you're gonna have to spend another $2,500, but this time it works, and you've got something else to back it up.
Hmm.
That's like real monetary shit there.
Oh yeah,
But but
and
we're
that's
we're
the
at a
other
part
thing
where we
too.
don't.
I've got two cases that I'm working with right now that uh, I can do stuff with. One of them's AMD. The other one, I think they're both AMD.
Mhm.
I would just need, like I said, I would just need to get a performance graphics card for it,
Yeah.
and
Basically, that's it, dude. Because like the AMD RAM and the AMD solid state drive is just rebranding of other stuff. It's not original. Just
yeah,
just focus on the processor and the graphics card if you're gonna go
yeah,
there. Yeah.
and even then, you really don't need, if you're running a media center PC, technically, hypothetically speaking, you really don't need to run an SSD for the OS. I
You
mean,
don't. Right.
because
Well, hell, I don't have
because
an
because because
SSD.
because you're not really doing anything, as far as, anything too over the top. If you're running something like a gaming rig, yeah, you want those SSDs to be able to bring your system back up so it can run the Windows portion of it while you're gaming, and
Right.
not have any delay with hard drive spin up and all that other fun and happy shit.
Or like we talked about earlier, have one card streaming and one card gaming. And when you've got a dual
Exactly.
GPU card doing both of those jobs, that should be where it's at. But we can't
I mean,
quite get there. It's
yeah.
other limitations. We can't quite get
Hmm. You're close. Don't get me wrong, you're close, but you're still not there fully yet.
there. I don't see in the foreseeable future someone coming out with a motherboard for the AM3 Plus socket that will be able to handle that. I don't see it. If it happens, I will be mind blown. But if
Yeah.
we can see somebody come out with a board, whoever it is, I don't care. I'm not a brand boy. And if they can come out with a board that will support RAID 0, 8.1, and just be overall not a nightmare to work with, there's a market for it. There is. I didn't think there would
Oh,
be
there.
here in South Mississippi, but there is. you know, so yeah, that's what we're waiting on. Like as for right now, he's running one 250 gig SSD for the OS, and the other two 250 gig SSDs are sitting there for storage, and then there's the 4 terabyte.
Yeah.
And it's got all this stuff, a huge case, plenty of room to expand upon, and we're bottlenecked by the motherboard. That's it.
Hmm.
Everything else is there. There's even
Yeah.
oh Jesus, he bought the EVGA Supernova 1600 power supply. I mean, it's all there, dude. Everything.
Yeah.
It's all there, and we can't get the result we're looking for. Like we can't
Oh,
even
yeah.
get close to it. We've ran benchmark tests where okay, the 9590 is the fastest thing that AMD has. It is, but it always compares to a 4770K or a 5920K. Is what it always compares to in every benchmark we run for the most part. Um,
Right.
which is, I get it because the 9590 does not have strong single core performance, and I know that and understand that, but the multi core is pretty badass on it when you get it set right. I've seen that
Yeah.
thing do some crazy shit that I have not posted on the internet. But uh, so more on that later. But yeah, we're right now we're waiting on other parts to come in we're dumping a lot of time into this. We're gonna figure it out.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
have no doubts that you guys will. I mean, between all of you, you've got a lot of knowledge and experience going on. It's just gonna take you that little bit of extra time
Yeah.
to get everything fine-tuned to where its
Uh,
performance is where you want it to be.
as long as it gets to where so picture it like this is what I want out of it to be realistic. A 295X2 is like two 290Xs into one card.
Yeah.
Is pretty much what it's like. It's a little bit better in most ways, but that's basically what it's like. So if you've got essentially four 290Xs, molded into two cards, you want at least 2/3 of the performance of that, right?
Ideally.
I mean, ideally 2/3. We're getting like, God, I don't even want to say the number, like 40%. Like something is very wrong there.
Yeah. And it
Yeah,
could have everything to do with, it could be anything from how it's set up in the case to, as far as,
could be a lot of things.
which slot you've got it in. It could also be an issue with the firmware not acting right. It could be any number of things. You
Firmware
know,
seems to be the biggest problem right now because
well,
hardware throughput
that's the
is
thing
good.
when Jay, you think back to when Jay was doing his three-way SLI with 780
980,
Ti.
oh, 780, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I was there
When
for
it's
that.
780 Ti's, he's like, I should be getting all of this, and this.
Yeah,
And, he finally had to have somebody from NVIDIA come out to his house and, sit down with him and
yeah,
focus on it for what, 2-3 days at
yeah.
least.
And
And,
explain this is what you're gonna actually get, and this is how we can get you there. Is
hmm
right. Is about what happened there. I get that, and
Yeah, and when you look at it, it's all, it was all firmware. He had to, do custom firmware, this, that, and the other with the firmware, and stuff with the motherboard, programs, this, that, and the other.
right.
And eventually he got it all sorted out, but, that's
But see, that's
seems,
cool for him though, because he was doing a review sample at that time, right? Wasn't that stuff that was sent to him for a review?
uh,
So he was taking,
something like that.
well, basically, he didn't go and pay for all that. All right, so what I'm saying is my friend and I have paid for this project as a consumer with not having any hookups. And
hmm
what we found is that we've spent all this money and we can't find a simple solution to get the stuff to work. And that's a problem.
You
And
might
when
have to
we solve
contact the
it, we will figure it
manufacturer.
out.
I mean, you may just have to sit down and contact the manufacturer and say, look, this is what I'm trying to do.
Right,
It says that it'll support it. Why isn't it doing what
right.
you guys are saying it's going to do?
And we
That's kind
have.
of false advertising.
We have done that, and so far we have gotten one response back from Gigabyte, and their response was, please call customer service at the hours of operation.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, and we've literally spent the money and proved it to them.
Oh, I know.
we
I
can't
believe you
we
guys.
can't get straight answers. So
You
if I
might
had
have
more
to talk to the.
resources, I would do more. But well, like I said, I'm not the one that's like going out on a limb on this, but it's frustrating
Yeah.
because I am working on it and I want this to work, and so far no. So next time I do a project like this, it's going to be with NVIDIA, and we'll see what they can do.
I mean,
And
as far as NVIDIA goes, I mean, you plug it in and it
it works.
without too many minor tweaking, you
Yep.
can get the performance that you're looking for, easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Yep.
And then,
It's pretty minimal
yeah,
headache.
yeah. But
And
then, you look at AMD, and obviously, you guys are going through a certain scenario with your
yeah,
project.
we're in a
but you also
scenario
have
that
to.
no one else is going through right now. That's the other part of it. It's we're going in blind.
Yeah, and who's to say that, maybe they themselves haven't tested what you guys are trying to do.
It's very possible.
So, they may be learning how to do it along with you, all at the same time. It's all a good possibility.
I will say one good thing about AS Rock though, they've been very very good. It just sucks that they're man. There's a lot of people don't like AS Rock, but I will say that AS Rock can allow that CPU with one of those 295 X2s to achieve some badass shit. I'm just gonna say that.
Ooh.
Uh, I'll have more info on that later, but it's pretty mind blowing. You know, I I pick my parts based on what I need, tool for the job.
Hmm. Yeah,
Is
you
really
pick.
what I do.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be. You pick. Why did you pick what you picked? Why did you buy a Craftsman table saw rather than,
Right.
some off-brand?
Right.
Why? Because I trust Craftsman and I know what kind of products they produce.
Right.
Why do you, well, it's the same thing with
It
people
is.
and choosing Intel versus AMD or
Yep.
Gigabyte, PNY, Corsair,
Yep.
all of these other brands.
We can do all the hashtag gates right here. Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
you can either pick what you know or dive into territory that you don't.
Yep.
It's
I dive once in a
all
while,
your yeah,
but
it's all your
yeah.
personal preference, and
Yep.
sometimes, not all the time, but you'll find that diamond in the rough that works,
Yep.
that off-brand that works better than the original.
The AS Rock on
You
the
know?
9590. The Extreme 9 is a damn good board to run that chip. You're not going to get everything you're
Oh
looking
yeah,
for out of it, but it's a damn good board. You will be able to play your games with no problems. And
yeah,
I've seen,
and here's the other thing. GTX. I'm just doing this for shits and giggles.
oh, go ahead.
680. For the win.
Oh, we're going where
4
we're at right
gigabyte.
now. Right now, for those of you viewing right now, Zeo Fox is not on his main rig. If you haven't caught that
No,
by now.
I'm actually running on my laptop, and it's got a mobile 650 graphics card in it.
It's doing damn good. Like
I
we
know.
had some major hiccups, but it's doing the job. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Uh,
When did you release?
See, we've both run benchmarks back to back. I've got the newer stuff, and my stuff does not compare. It does
But
not.
yeah, you also have to remember too that
Well,
I
you bought
way
specific
overclock
tools.
I overclocked
Mm,
the hell out
I
of
know.
that card.
I know. Just running the Unigen benchmarks that we ran, I was like, wow, like that's a good fucking card. Because I overclocked my graphics card 3 days ago, and I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it 90 megahertz higher than the factory speed without it crashing and artifacting. So
I can't remember
yeah.
what I did or how I went.
My record speed was 1293 megahertz. That was my record.
Yeah.
That's not a record. That's
No.
like no, that's not a record.
No,
But
not
that was my record.
the imagination. I mean, I overclocked the hell out of mine, and I just barely beat what your
I got a
or your
770,
770.
4 gigabyte wind force overclocked out the box. Just so
Yeah,
everybody knows. So it
yours
was
was
a
over.
cheap one. It was it was an expensive one, and he whooped
Yeah,
me. He straight whooped me.
yeah, and on an older card too.
Right, on an older card. Yep. With slower memory and less CUDA cores, and he still whooped me. Yep.
Mhm.
It's a
But
fact.
like I said, you also have to remember too that I spent hours and hours tweaking the
Right.
hell out of that thing.
Well, yours was
Where
actually made better than mine too. Because
that
like the
that actually
EVGA
doesn't
is
surprise
definitely
me.
better built.
I'm trying to figure out when the hell the 680 fucking released.
The 680, that was a while ago. That was like maybe 3 years ago, I
At
think.
least
Yeah, at least
somewhere in
three
that
years ago.
neighborhood.
680's been around. That's the dual GPU, right?
Oh no, it's a single GPU.
Is it what 690 was the dual?
I
I know it was one
think
of
so.
them. I think it was 690 probably that was a dual GPU. That's like the
Let's
one
see.
that was like whooping the 780 on launch. There was one of them that was older that was like running with and beating the 780 on launch. I think it was
Yeah,
the 690.
GTX 680 for the win, 4 gig.
It's probably like $700.
Uh, as right now, it's still going for $400 or $500 depending on where you can find it.
Mine goes for a good
Um,
price on mine's like 379. I think.
that's funny.
Yeah, it's like 379 is like the pretty good okay price on mine.
Yeah, I mean, I've got with the card that I've got in my main rig, it's got 1536 CUDA cores,
Mhm.
1084 megahertz base clock, boost clocked up to 1150.
I see.
It's
I got
got
it all
four
at
gig.
beat.
It's got 4 gigs of DDR5.
Yeah,
We're the same on that.
we are on that.
Uh,
You got a 256-bit interface, right?
yeah, I got a 256-bit interface and 6008 megahertz base memory clock with a clock
6008.
speed 6008.
Mine's 7003, and you
Yeah,
still beat
and
me.
I beat you
Still
only
beat
by
me.
a little bit because I was able to get it to run stable at 7,000, roughly 7,100. Let's go
That's
with that.
badass. No, no, mine's 7010. Looking at the box, 7010. So yeah, so you got me by 90 megahertz on the memory,
Yeah, I
and
don't know
yeah,
I
and it
don't
was
know how
stable.
how the hell I was able to
Yeah,
get that stable
that's
without crashing.
badass. That's
Yeah,
almost like kingpin shit, right there.
almost.
That's almost kingpin.
Yeah,
It's for the
it's
win. Then there's kingpin. And there's Chris dude over here with like the 770 that everybody's like, oh, it's a piece of shit, but hey, it gets my job done.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
I went with Gigabyte because I liked the design of the card.
yeah.
I
Mine
like
mine
the
was
three fans, and it's like, oh, it's cool
EVGA.
looking.
Yeah. I mean, eventually, I'd like to get to that point where I can put. I would love to be able to put a seven or seven a nine just one, mind you, 970 into my main rig,
Oh, it's
and
great.
and be happy and content. But and then transfer the 680 over to one of my other rigs and use that as the media center because the 680 is still a kick-ass card,
Mhm.
especially
Yeah.
for doing your whole media center PC and pushing the video and whatnot that you need to.
970, don't take it lightly, because I've built a machine with one in it that's sitting in the next room over from me, and it is a great machine. It can run anything at great frame rates, unless you're a pixel prick and you want to do the 4K texture mods on Skyrim and then bash on the 970 for not being able to do it perfectly. Unless you're one of
Right.
those people, then there's no reason why you shouldn't get it.
Yeah.
It's $300
It's 300,
or
three hundred and
something,
fifty
300 some
dollars
change.
depending on what you're actually looking to do with it, and then
And it beats what
for
I have and what you have by about 15%, which is a pretty good. That's pretty good, you
yeah, and
know.
then you can obviously overclock it and get more of the performance that you're looking for, so you can run the higher frame rate at lower resolution because like I said. for what 4K is now, it's what 1080 was back in the day.
Yep.
But if you really sit down and look at it, the 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 ability to do 4K is only superficial.
Yep.
Because you can still get, like I said, you can still get the performance that you want just by running it at a lower resolution. You're gonna bottleneck yourself out because you can't play 4K games higher than either 30 or 60 frames a second right now.
Yep.
It's just not feasibly possible because the technology and the cables hasn't caught up to what
Yep.
gamers have come to expect when they, run their PC games.
It's basically the opposite problem that we had with 1080p. Because when
Right.
1080p first came out, we did have hardware that could drive it and drive it perfectly. But now we have the opposite problem. We have the hardware that can't drive it perfectly, and we have the problem of the interface is not being able to support it. So we're like
Well,
really, we're trying to chase the purple dragon here.
that's not necessarily true. We have the exact opposite when we have the ability to drive 4K with the cards that are coming out now with the 980, 970,
We
the
can't,
R9 295
but you
X2.
need like two of them, of
But
any of them.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I didn't
Right.
say that
You're right.
you could run it on one card. We have the
Yeah.
technology to drive it. We just don't, and we have the display that will receive it. We just don't have the interface between the two to
To
be able
continue.
to handle that much information at the speeds that we want.
Well, you remember when 1080p was first getting popular? I mean, I do at least, to an extent. And my thing was like the best cards to pair up to run a 1080p gaming system would be like two GeForce GT 9800 GTs. I believe those were the ones.
Mm-hmm.
They had 1 gig of memory apiece, I think, and they were the ones to run 1080p at flawlessly, like with no problems. And it didn't cost an ass load of money. They were like $400 a piece, I think, which is not an ass load of money for what you're getting.
Right. Which is respectfully, pretty damn close to what the 970 is right at this current moment.
At this current moment, 970 is a little bit cheaper actually. And but like you said, it's the inputs. I can go out right now and go to my local Walmart and buy a TV that will let me game at 4K 60 frames a second. I can go do that right now for under $900. I can go buy that TV right now.
The only downside to that is the cables that are out at this current moment will only allow you to do 30 FPS.
Yes, unless you buy like a $200 cable.
And I'm not willing to do that at this juncture.
I have pets. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and I would much rather run a three-way monitor, a three-way monitor setup in 1080 and still be able to push 120 FPS.
Yes.
Without having the card break a sweat.
Yep. Me too. My 770 won't do it though. I've put my 770 on 3 identical monitors one time, and the most I could get was 90 frames on anything. And they were all 1080p displays, all the same kind. And that's all I could get was 90 frames a second. Now, yeah, I could blame my processor, but I don't really want to blame my processor because it was only under 40% load the entire time. So I don't think that's the problem.
It's not. It might just be the card trying too hard in order to, split it up the way that, you're trying to get.
One DVI, one HDMI, and one HDMI mini.
So, now if you were to have another 770 in your rig, you'd have been able to do it easy, no problem, and you probably would have been able to get
144 if I was able to have the screens to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, 144 or 120 FPS on 1080, something to that effect.
But this is the point
But
that this is what sucks, dude. We're both at the point where we've got a 4 gig graphics card that's badass. It was when we bought these things, they were badass, and
hmm
now for oh god, what it's like $600, you can get an 8 gig graphics card that's like way better than what we got, and it's doing stuff. And it's like this is really where the price points are going. This is what's scaring me. Is like it's it seems like it's going lower, but it's not. It's really going up.
hmm
And nobody really wants to talk about that. WTF.
No, not really. Yeah, right. WTF.
But so I'm sitting here looking at my AMD system with my NVIDIA graphics card and everything's honky dory. Like, how do I take this to the next level? Oh, I got to spend like $4,000 to actually take this
Yeah.
to the next level. Or spend like $4,000.
hmm I mean, and obviously, I'm running on a laptop right now that I bought.
At the moment, Zeo Fox has a badass setup. For
I
the
bought
record.
I bought this laptop a year ago. A year ago, mind you.
Mm.
And let's see. Let me see if I can't find the specs. And oh, by the way, I'm still running Windows 10 Technical Preview.
I had to drop that like a hot potato, man. That one
Dude,
night where it messed up our stream, I was like, nope, not doing it no more.
yeah, but the thing of it is if you started using OBS, you don't have that issue because it's
That's
not
pretty cool.
a CPU intensive
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be.
program.
Because OBS, alright, this is my thing. I stream Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is my thing. Alright? That's what I love to stream. And when I did it with OBS, I had no problems. When I did it with XSplit, it crashed every time I went live. After a certain point, 2 months after the game was released, that's when it started happening. It's like all of a sudden my hardware wasn't good enough to handle doing it on XSplit. That literally happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I'm dealing with. That's why I'm resorting to buying like stuff like this and you know trying new things.
hmm
I got a friend with like a dual 295x2 build. Like, man, let me play Call of Duty on that. I play it and it's like fucking as fast as the monitor can handle it.
Yeah. And here here's the thing. Here's the kicker. I'm gonna read you the specs of the laptop that I've got running right now. It's an Intel iCore Core i5
Awesome.
3210M processor
You're winning
at
with Intel already.
2.5 gigahertz. It's got 8 gigs of RAM on a 64-bit OS.
Yeah, you're
And then
doing fine.
I've got the single card. Well, it's got the built-in GPU, the NVIDIA GTX 650M process or graphics card in it. And I think it's a 1 gig card.
Yeah.
And I'm not having any issues. I mean, it does what I need it to, especially when I'm doing stuff like this with the streaming, and if I'm doing 3D modeling and things of that nature, it it handles it well. I don't have any program crashes unless I'm trying to do 6 different things at the same time. But that's the learning curve with it.
That's everything, dude.
But if you're editing a model that's 100 megabytes large, and you're using a graphics tablet with a pen, and you're sculpting and taking things away, adding things where you need it, it renders in real time with no lag.
And there's something to
It's
be said about
awesome,
that. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
It's just the hardware that you run.
Yeah. It's all about the tools in your tool shed, I guess you could
Hmm.
say.
Oh yeah.
Looking at the chat. Uh, Not looking at the chat anymore.
But it's interesting to see where things have come from to where they're
Yeah.
going. You know, you're going from Haswell to Maxwell. You know, you've got Samsung, and I think they're partnered with Intel, and they're trying to drop the size of their chips from, what is it, 22 nanometers down to what, 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
And you know, trying to squeeze as many cores as they can into their Intel, you know, regular Intel series. I mean, especially when you're looking at things like the uh, 5970, you
Yeah,
know,
5970X. Yep.
yeah, the 5970X with, eight solid cores,
Yeah, they're like real
eight
cores
real
that will
cores,
wreck
eight real
you.
cores.
That will
I
wreck.
mean,
Yeah.
the only
9590, you can't even hope to keep up with
no,
that. Just saying. You
I
can't.
I mean, you look at Barnacules'
Oh, I
new
love
rig,
his rig. I love his rig. Yeah.
and you look at it, and you have to think just a little bit at as far as what is in there.
You're
You
just
know,
like, well,
he's got Xenon processors in there,
two of them.
two of them. You
Who
know,
has
those
one?
they're borderline, uh, if
They're
if not already, server processors.
Dude, those processors, I would rate them, in my personal Chris Dude opinion, I would rate them like 5% lower quality than the 5960X. But he's got two of them,
Yeah.
and each one is
Oh.
dedicated to a different job.
I mean,
And it's
he does the
it's
video
awesome.
rendering and all of that.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have to think, and he does the 3D printing and all of that. But, you know,
Oh man, I had a
it,
great thing
it's
to say, but I forgot. Oh
it
man,
happens.
that's something great. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm gonna figure that out because it was
Well,
really good.
what I wanted to do was essentially build a server rig, but use it for video processing and gaming. Because you can go out now and find processors that have, 10 plus cores, solid
Yep.
cores, and if they have hyper-threading, they've got double that in threads, so you can do just about anything and everything with
Fox, I
them.
figured it out. I remembered what I was thinking about. All right. Remember, you and I are both roughly the same age. We're like 2 or 3 years apart, if that. Probably not even that. All right. So like 10 years ago, do you remember when you had a PC, you were like, oh, I got a PC and I want to play this game. Oh shit, I can't play it. What do I gotta do? Oh, I guess I just gotta go to Best Buy or Circuit City or Fry's or whatever it is and buy a
Hmm.
$1,200 computer. Spend $1,200 only on a tower, and I can play anything. Those days are gone.
Now it's all
They are
about.
so gone.
Not necessarily true, though. I mean, if you go to
Can
places
can you
like,
go to Best Buy or any other place like an actual brick and mortar store and walk in and say, I want to spend $1,200 and what I need is an okay processor with a badass graphics card. How many
the answer
options do
is
you
no.
see?
The answer is none as far as your standard chain brick and mortar stores. But
Yep.
if you go ahead and look at, say, the quote unquote mom and pop shops like
Right.
the one
There's
that
lots
Jerry
of them.
went to.
Yeah. There's
You
one in
know,
my. There's three in my town. I'm in
yeah,
Mississippi, dude. There's three of them in my town.
yeah, that's
Uh,
the thing. If you go to
yeah.
the quote unquote mom and pop shop, the one that only may have one or two
Right.
locations ever, you know, your
And
chances are much higher of finding that $1,200-$1,500 system that will be able to do what
yeah,
you want it to do.
the major retailers aren't doing it no more though. That's yeah.
No, but if you go ahead and look at laptops, you know,
Laptops, yes. Yeah.
your laptops is getting closer to yes,
Yeah.
because
If you
obviously
spend
because
1,200 on a laptop, you're gonna get something badass.
yeah, especially if you go with something
Uh,
like Alienware or things like that.
yeah.
Granted,
Yeah.
Alienware is
Look, people hate
overpriced for
them,
what it
but
is.
fuck you because they have good parts in their systems.
Yes.
They do.
The parts that they put in are the right parts to do the job the right way. But the price point is like buying a Mac.
Yeah, it is.
You're paying for the brand. That's
Yep.
basically what that boils down to. Now, if you're
But
buying
you're
strictly
paying for the
if you're
brand where you can change the parts out if they fail, unlike a
yes,
Mac, easily.
unlike a Mac. Yes, but
Easily.
then again, you know, you look at things people like Sager, MSI, you know, all of these other ones, you know, they tend to have some of those similar abilities as far as changing parts out and things like that. But you can also spend the $1,500 and get a little more bang for your buck
Yep.
because you're not paying for that brand. It's like when, you know, it's like buying from Alienware and then finding something comparable in HP.
Yep. And you
Your
can.
your price point is cut significantly lower.
Dude, the best laptop I ever bought in my life was an HP DV9000 with the Intel Core 2 Duo in it. That was like the best fucking laptop I ever bought until I found out how shitty the heat was on it.
Oh
And
yeah.
other than that, it was the literally like Alienware couldn't touch it.
I
Like
mean when
I had the one that was like, $3,000
yeah.
and
I
it
mean
was
I
awesome.
found
But
the laptop that my wife is currently using, which is behind me over here,
yeah,
is an HP. You know, I found that at on Best Buy's website because my brother got it and I
right.
was needing a new laptop because you know I needed to talk to family, this, that, and the other, and you know it's an HP. It's a Pavilion DV7, and the interesting thing on this one, let's see if I can't find the information here real
The
quick.
DV7, the interesting thing is I've never fixed one, so that means it
I
works
have.
good.
The only quote unquote fixing that I had to do with it is because of my wife's job and what she does with the creatures and costumes that she makes. There was a nice good sized hairball stuck in the fan, so I had to
It
take it apart
happens.
and clean that out.
Shit, I got
But
three
you know
cats. It
that's
happens.
yeah, and this thing isn't running that bad. It's an AMD Turon 2 Ultra Dual Core
Holy shit, a
M6.
Turion.
It's
Nice.
it's an M620. It's an M620 processor at 2.5 gigahertz, 4 gigs of RAM, running a 64-bit OS.
And it does everything fine, right?
It has the only, like I said, the only issue that I've had with it was that giant hairball thing that was in the fan.
This
Other than
laptop's
that,
dude.
you know, it's awesome, and you know the biggest selling point on it for me was the fact that it had a Blu-ray player in it, and I love watching my Blu-ray movies, and you know
Yeah,
it was just so nice to be able to watch them
that
on
is
the go.
awesome. Just put that shit in and play it, and the battery will actually last through an entire movie. And it's
Hmm.
awesome. And the DV9000 would too. It would. It would last through 2 movies if you would, tweak a couple of settings. It would last through like 2 of them. And
Oh yeah.
man, that was, oh my God. I just want to say right now, all hail the HP DV9000 because that was like, you'll never see that again. Like, that was the laptop that just, it was like, okay, yeah, it's expensive, but it's affordable too because we'll approve your credit
Mhm.
and you can get
Pretty
one.
much.
And yeah, and it's badass, and it was until I had issues with the heat dissipation. Copper, not good for a laptop. It's gonna say that.
No. Not
Not
right.
for a
Not
laptop.
really.
It's not the ideal metal to use
No.
because
But
it literally melted the hard drive.
yeah. But for what it is, and only having to replace a $100 component in it,
Yeah.
to put a terabyte
Oh
drive in
yeah,
it,
definitely. That's easy.
it's
Yeah.
it's 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 not that bad.
For
That's the
somebody like
thing.
us, that's awesome because we're like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, just like cheap part failed, no problem, put it in. And
Hmm. And depending on how bad the hard drive fails and what it fails for, you have the ability to pull most of your information off as long as you've got, say, an external drive that you can, an external SATA drive that you can plug your
right.
stuff into.
As long as you like regularly back it up, you're good. But
Hmm.
it's yeah, when it says Windows cannot load, you're fucked. At that point, you're
Kind of.
you're you're kind of fucked. I tried HP recovery, it didn't work. I tried, everything I was supposed to try, it didn't work. And there was some data I lost that was I don't like losing, but it's whatever. It's that was like 8 years ago. But
Oh
man,
yeah.
that laptop, oh my God.
Talking about old systems,
I,
man. I mean,
yeah,
I remember running
Pentium.
AMD Athlon processors in an old Dell that all I had to do really to play the game that I wanted was to go out and get, you know, back then was a $60 graphics card that would be just barely good enough to do what I
Hmm.
wanted to do.
Dell Optiplex GX280 for the win.
Hmm.
Pentium 4 Prescott edition. Oh yeah, clamshell case. Yeah, I can shove a $60 graphics card in that without changing out the
Oh yeah.
power supply. Yep, sure can. Yep.
Those were the days.
Dungeon
Those
Siege
were
2. Yep, I got
the
60
days.
frames.
Hmm.
No doubt, no doubt.
Oh,
So man, what's up in chat? We got let's see, Osiris and we got Mr. America. No, damn man, nobody's watching.
eh,
Well, they'll
it
see it
happens.
later.
Yeah, they will.
It's prime time, man. We're fighting with the big dogs right now.
Yep, it happens, but eventually we'll be some of the big.
Eh, you already are, dude. Oh shit, you dropped. Oh wait, I can hear you. Oh shit, dude. Yeah, you dropped. You're done. Hello. Ah, there we go. Hello, hello, hello. Your station for hip hop and R&B, Jay-Z 94.5, the People Station. Oh yeah.
Well, it still says I'm live, but I don't know where Chris.
I lost you again.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Oh, you're in here twice.
Oh well. We'll leave it in there.
That'll be fine.
Yeah. But yeah, we've been going for, over an hour now. I think it's a good time to wrap up. If I think correctly, let me go and take a look. The other one went for half an hour. This one's over an hour and a half show. I don't think that's too bad.
Nah, dude, we
You
got
know,
like 2 hours of show.
just
Something like
about.
that. Yeah. Cool.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, as far as this week goes, I think it's a good time to wrap up, and we'll definitely come back next week. Probably same time, same great place. We'll try and get this back on track and off the ground. Maybe we'll have some decent topics. If not, we'll just have another geek out, and we'll try and get some better guests rather than just ourselves. I mean, don't get
Regardless
me
of what
wrong.
happens, it will
Yep,
be awesome.
yep, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to thank you guys that have tuned in, for staying with us as long as you have. It is really appreciated that you guys stick with us. It means a bunch to me, and to Chris, I'm sure, as well.
Oh yeah. No, we love this. Like seriously, we would love to have more people on here that want to interact. So
Oh yeah.
come check us out. If you want to do it next week, I'm down. If you want to do it anytime, I'm down. Let me know.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, why don't you do your shameless self-promotion, and I'll
Oh,
do mine, and then we will call it a good night.
well, it's that time. All right. You can find me on YouTube at www.youtube.com/ChrisDudeTechTube. You can find me on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/ChrisDudeOnTechTube. You can find me on Twitter at CMarshall. That's about it. Zeo Fox and I will try to do some stuff in the future, and right now that's where it's at. So, alright. Please hit that follow button. Make sure you follow Zeo Fox. And, like, holy shit, follow him on all of his shit, because we've got some stuff coming down the pipeline. Alright.
Oh yeah. That is definitely true. And as far as my shameless self-promotion, obviously, if you're on this channel, you know who I am, you know what I do. If you're brand new to this channel and you're just now tuning in, feel free to hit that subscribe button. I love doing what I do. I love the 3D printing, talking tech, just about anything in general. Uh, like I said earlier in the show, I do have a few 3D informational type, 3D printing 101 type videos coming down the pipeline. Be sure to stay tuned and check them out. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. You can find me just about anywhere on social media, as well as Twitch, which I will be starting to do here sometime in the close future
Twitch
at
is fun.
yeah, twitch.tv/ZeoFox, all lowercase letters, all one word. Pretty much it. And until next time, guys, we'll see all of you on the other side of the interwebs.
And
So
stay on the cutting edge.
stay on the cutting edge and take it easy.